date, we have always heard that some person has seen a ghost, but we always hear that only one person has seen the ghost. We never hear that 4 or 5 people have seen the ghost together, right? And maybe because of these reasons, no one believes in ghosts from the beginning. It has remained just a folk tale. But the story that I am going to tell you today, in which not only one person had seen the ghost, but more than 100 people had seen the ghost there at the same time. And not only did they see it, they also talked to it. And guys, this story is about the same thing because as horrifying and scary this story is, there is a truth many times more scary than that. There is a mystery hidden in this story. No one has been able to solve that mystery till date. And today I will tell you about both those stories. Guys, there is a question for all of you. It will be hidden here in this video, and whoever answers that question will do so. I will give him a shout out in some of my upcoming videos. And guys, I am not going to tell you this question just like that. I have kept this question hidden in this very video, and you will have to make a very creative comment related to that question. Now, before starting this video, to see more such horror, mysterious, and historical videos, subscribe to this channel. Now, this story begins, guys. This is the story of Flight 401. You must have read many news articles about this story and must have seen your blogs. Many things have happened with this because it is said that many secrets are associated with this story. Like a mystery is hidden behind this. Actually, this flight took off from New York to Florida in 1972. This flight was being flown by 2 captains, Albert and Robert, and both the captains were very experienced in themselves, very knowledgeable about flights, but they could not have made any mistakes. And even on the day of the flight, when this flight was flying, there was no problem at that time. Everything was normal throughout the flight, and the flight was about to land in a short while. But just before the flight landed, the captain felt that the landing gear was a little faulty, and if we used this gear even a little, or if we tried to put even a little pressure on it, then it could burn at the time of landing or something could get damaged. But still, both the captains together thought that we should investigate a little to see how we can work this out. But still, they were not able to do it. The landing gear was not coming out at all. They were not able to find a solution for it. So they felt that maybe we should tell everything to the ground staff because maybe at the end, only they would be able to help us because, guys, they had already come very close to the landing place. They just had to land. That was the next step. So now they directly contacted the ground staff. The first thing the ground staff told them was that first the flight should be given a good landing gear. Take it for a considerable distance in the air and then put it in autopilot mode. And the pilot also did the same thing. They went into autopilot mode, and then the ground staff said that now you guys can calmly think how you can remove the landing gear. They started trying, but in the middle of these efforts, the hand of one of the captains accidentally pressed the lever of the autopilot, and the autopilot mode was now removed. No one from the plane came to know anything, but the flight was now moving very fast towards the ground. There were 2 pilots in that plane. There were 10 flight attendants and 163 passengers. When this plane was going towards the ground very fast, even then they could not save it. The plane crashed. All the people sitting in the cockpit, all of them died by burning. 2 out of 10 flight attendants could not survive, and only 75 people out of 163 were saved. Even today, it is said that this is a moment in aviation history. It was the most horrific accident where so many people died because of a small mistake. But the real story started after this crash. As the news of the crash of Flight 401 became old, people started forgetting about this accident. And the people who were the company of the flight also started thinking that a lot of time has passed and we should forget about all this and we should also move on from this. So when it was their turn to move on, then they started using all the broken pieces of Flight 401, which were working perfectly, whatever scrap material was there, in their new flights. And the flight in which they used the most scrap material and different things was Flight 318, and now it was the turn of all those flights to take off. At the time of takeoff, everything was normal for many days. But in the flights where the planes were not working properly, spare parts of 401 were installed there, and slowly strange things started happening. Whoever used to travel in those flights often felt that someone was sitting next to them, even though the seat was empty. Once this happened in a flight where an air hostess serving passengers suddenly felt someone in an empty seat giving her orders. To her shock, it was the pilot of that plane. Confused, she went to the cockpit, but saw both pilots sitting there. Returning, she found the seat empty. She asked a passenger nearby if he saw the pilot, but he denied, saying she was talking to herself. The air hostess was disturbed because she had clearly seen him. Other hostesses confirmed they never saw anyone sitting there, but the strange feeling remained. These incidents were not limited to one flight. Slowly, rumors spread that a ghostly pilot was troubling crew and passengers. Still, most people did not believe such stories. But one night changed everything. This was on Flight 318. Normally, it used to fly empty because of ghost rumors, but during summer holidays, it was jam-packed. Among the crew was an air hostess named Faye Marie Weather. She had to prepare food for 180 passengers within 2 hours. As she worked, the cabin was quiet, dim lights on, most passengers asleep. Only one task was left: heating food. When she approached the oven, she suddenly saw a reflection of a man warning repeatedly, "Be careful, this flight can catch fire." Shocked, she froze, staring at the reflection. Regaining herself, Faye rushed to the flight engineer and told him everything. Normally, no one believes such things, but when the engineer came, he too saw the reflection. He recognized the man. It was his friend, the engineer who died in the crash of Flight 401. The reflection repeated the warning. Not only the engineer, but all nearby crew also saw and heard the voice. "Be careful, this flight can catch fire anytime." This was unusual because in ghost stories, usually only one person sees something, but here almost all passengers witnessed the reflection and heard the voice. The warning was taken seriously. The engineer advised landing immediately. The plane landed safely and was sent for servicing. Surprisingly, no fault was found that could cause fire. The aircraft was declared safe and cleared to fly again. But after this night, the haunting of Flight 318 was no longer just a rumor. It was witnessed by hundreds together. This is about Flight 318, when the flight was running according to its normal route and its normal timing. And just now, as I told you, no one ever got a chance to fly from this flight because of seeing ghosts in this flight. No one used to travel. Mostly this flight used to travel empty, but now it was holidays. Summer, vacation time was going on, and due to this reason, this flight was not only jam-packed, it was very overfed, and there was another air hostess in this flight whose name was Faye Marie Weather, and she had to prepare food for 180 people, and she had only 2 hours. At that time, she started her work, and other hostesses started their work. As soon as their work was over, they opened the curtain outside and saw that everyone was very quiet. Dim lights were on. No one was doing anything. Everyone was probably sleeping, etc. Etc. The other people who were in the room were also talking to each other, etc. And until Faye Marie Weather could not go out, no one would go outside. This was the scene. And guys, now only one thing was left, and that was to heat the food, and she was just going towards the oven to heat the food. Then before opening the oven, she saw that a reflection was coming on the oven itself, and it was of a person, and he was saying something repeatedly that "be careful, this flight can catch fire." Faye was not saying anything at that time. She was just standing like that, and she was just looking at that reflection, and that reflection was repeating again and again that "be careful, this flight can catch fire." Now after some time, Faye regained consciousness. She moved a little and she thought that I should tell someone about this. Then she ran to that flight engineer and went and told him everything. And guys, usually no one believes in all these things. But when that flight engineer came, then he also saw that reflection, and he said that, "Yes, I am also seeing this reflection. And I know this person is none other than my friend, because he was killed in the crash of Flight 401. He was the engineer of that flight, and whatever these things were." He was saying all those things to the flight engineer. And guys, at that time, not only he was the only one who was hearing all this, all the colleagues, air hostesses, everyone could hear these things. Not only the air hostesses, all the flight attendants who had come out of that passage, everyone had seen them. They all had also heard his voice, that there is a person standing in this corner, and he is shouting and saying, "Be careful, this flight can catch fire anytime." And guys, as I had said in the beginning of this video, that it always happens in horror stories that only one person can see any ghost or a spirit at any time. But in this Flight 318, Almost all the passengers had seen this reflection. All the passengers had heard this voice, which was not of any human being. It was of something that was not alive. But guys, now, you must be thinking that, what about the words of the man who was in that reflection? Don, he had said that this flight was going to catch fire. What about these things was taken care of very well. The flight engineer had advised that the plane should be landed as soon as possible, and it was landed. After landing, the flight was sent for servicing, and during servicing, one thing was very shocking, that no such fault was found, due to which the plane could catch fire. It was very normal. The plane was absolutely clean. Then the servicing people thought that we should give it back now, and this plane can fly comfortably now. So guys, due to these reasons, the flight was given permission to fly. It was its first takeoff, and at that very moment, the plane stopped in the air itself. It got damaged. It was not moving at all. So guys, at that time, the flight attendants, the pilot of the flight, everyone tried to revive the flight, but it was not happening. And they thought that now, if we try our best 100%, if we try to put even a little force on the engine, then it would not work. If they tried, there is a 100% chance that this flight could have caught fire. And then at that time, they remembered what Don Repo had said. And guys, then luckily the flight was revived and started moving again. And that flight was also landed safely. And guys, if all these things had not happened, then everything that a ghost had said would have come true. That is, this tragic incident that happened with Don Repo, he wanted that this should not happen with anyone else. That is why he had already warned all the flight attendants that something is wrong with this flight. And guys, just like that, all the flight members started getting all the flight attendants. All the flight attendants started getting warnings. Literally thousands of people's lives were being saved by a ghost all the time. Because guys, look, because of one person's mistake, so many people had died at that time just because of one person's mistake. And because of that, a very historic decision was also taken through that flight's owner, that in whichever flights, the spare parts of Flight 401 that have been installed should be taken out immediately on an immediate basis, because it is possible that in future the souls of Don Repo and other captains that are hidden in those spare parts can haunt people in future. And guys, as far as Flight 318 is concerned, there used to be a crew member in that flight who was very religious. So all the crew members had told that person that now it is a matter of safety of all the people. And if you are so religious, then you should do an exorcism in the entire flight using holy water. Then he did all these things because, of course, it was a question of safety of all the people. So he did not refuse at all. He did all these things. And after this exorcism, no soul was ever seen in that flight. No voice was ever heard. But guys, did this story end here? No. The spare parts of Flight 401 are still told that they are kept in many different flights even today. Maybe those spare parts are there in the flights you have traveled in recently. It is said that when you are in a flight and you feel a very strange feeling, you feel chills, goosebumps. It has been written in many internet articles. That is because maybe the spare parts of that plane have been used in that plane. It is possible that the next time you sit in that flight, next to it, there will be the spirit of Don Repo or some dead passenger of that flight, and he may be trying to make you feel the same pain. And maybe this is the reason that the story of Flight 401 is the most painful and horrifying story in the entire aviation history. And guys, such a story had happened in our India too. Only it is not related to flight, and it is the most haunted place of our country, and its title is also the same. The most haunted place of India, but which place is that? I will not tell you in this video right now. You will get to know about it only after watching the full video. And guys, whoever told me the name of that place first in the comment section, I will personally give him a shout out in my next video or in some other videos from my side. Now, before ending this video, I would like to tell you one thing, that if while traveling in a flight, any person comes and tells you something like, you should probably not travel in this flight because that flight has a history of such things, then you should believe him and get down from that flight, because it is possible that he has come to save you from a painful death. This is a warning, guys. Thank you.